Welcome to Sparking Everyday Discipleship, where we disciple parents to disciple their children with everyday discipleship every day, sparking important conversations with the children in their life. I'm your host, Terrie Hellard-Brown, and we're so glad you've decided to spend some time with us today. This week we have a very special guest, Brenda Covert. She is a wonderful, fun person to talk to, and she has a wonderful Christmas book out that you might want to check out right now. She is just a ball of energy and so much fun to talk with. I know you're going to be blessed by what she shares, so let's join the conversation. I'm so glad to introduce you to our guest today. She's new to our podcast, and she's a brand new writer, and her name is Brenda Covert. Thank you for being here, Brenda.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited and nervous.
Well, that's perfectly normal.
What will I say?
Who knows?
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
We have to start by talking about your adorable book that is just now coming out. We are recording this early, but when this is showing, the book should just be launching. It's a Christmas book. So, well, Brenda, we want to talk about your wonderful book. Tell us what inspired it and tell us all about it, just about the story. It's called Meanwhile Back at the Manger, and it comes out November 18th, according to Amazon.
Yes, and according to my publisher.
Oh, good. That's good. Okay, they're in agreement. That's great.
Okay, well, I have always loved Christmas. It's my favorite holiday, and I have been writing for years for, other fields like the educational field or the Sunday school field where they do supplementary materials. And I took a master class that was taught by Laura Sassy, whom I think you know,
Very
and I love
well,
her books.
yeah.
She taught a master class on writing picture books. So in that, she told us about 7 different types of books that you could write. And one of them was the parallel style, which is known from the old Western days of Meanwhile Back at the Ranch.
Uh-huh.
And when she started talking about that, it just popped in my head. Meanwhile Back at the Manger. It's like I got an idea from the master class. So it took me a couple of years to actually work that up. And it was another master class led by Kim Peterson, who was doing one on hooks, queries, and proposals. And I was like, okay, I have to finish this book so that Kim can help me write my query letter. So I got it done. I was also in a critique group that helped me. So it was so much fun to figure out what's happening at the stable and what's happening away from the stable. And to do that, I needed a character that was not there but should have been there. So this is an extra biblical story, as in we have the story of Mary and Joseph and Jesus. And although I wanted to put them in there, we do not have wise men because my editor said, and I think most of us know, the wise men didn't show up the night Jesus was born. It was a couple of years later. So I was like, what can I do? Both of my parents were raised on farms, so I'm a farmer's granddaughter. And having been, in barns and things, they are not as clean as depicted in all of the storybooks. So I realized, they had to have someone cleaning, and it was probably a stable boy. I did a little research, and stable boys have gone back for centuries. Somebody has to clean all the muck out. Yeah. So I said, okay, we're going to have a stable boy. And I named him Thomas because that's a name in the New Testament. And it's an easy name for kids. I have him being the stable boy, but it's a stinky job, and he doesn't really like it. So as Mary and Joseph are coming to town, he's leaving to do a night fishing job. So he's out there having not a great night because if no one knows, fish are stinky too. So meanwhile, back at the manger, all these miraculous things are happening, and is Thomas going to get back in time? Oh no. What I didn't think about when I was writing this story, and one of my endorsers told me that it's about be content where God puts you because you don't know why you may be there. And I was like, wow, that's a nice thing that parents can discuss with their children after the story. because he didn't know that that was going to be the biggest night of his life.
That is so good and such an important lesson to teach our kids as we're raising them to follow Christ. Sometimes following Christ does seem mundane, and being obedient isn't always fun and games. It's challenging, it's sometimes scary, but sometimes it's boring. And that's important. How many times does the Bible tell us to wait? To wait on the Lord, to be still, to, just wait. I remember we served overseas in Taiwan for 15 years. And in between, we came home for about a year and a half. And it was such a waiting time. And I hated it. I hated it so much. Just waiting and waiting. We knew we were going to go back at some point, but we didn't know if it was right away. We didn't know if it was years later or what. And that waiting time and not knowing what we were supposed to do was so hard. It really tests your determination to be obedient and not just take things in your own hands
Yes.
like Thomas does and go fishing. That's
And
great.
kids love fishing.
Yeah.
They love fishing until it's a job, honestly.
Well, yeah. Well, you gave me some questions to ask, and some of these are so great, I have to ask them. So I wouldn't have thought to ask this. Were you ever cast as part of the nativity story in a children's Christmas program?
Oh, yes. I was one of the chorus of angels many times. One time, I was the innkeeper's daughter, and I think that was actually with a Christmas cantata because my church at the time was a small country church, and they always had a cantata in one year. I don't know what the songs were, but it was the innkeeper and the innkeeper's daughter mainly telling the story.
Oh, okay.
But I never was cast as Mary, and that always made me sad. But I got glasses when I was in fifth grade, so I always told myself that I couldn't be Mary because Mary didn't have glasses.
Oh,
But then
cute.
I also felt like the innkeeper's daughter wouldn't have had glasses either, so I felt like such a fraud.
Kids are so fun.
Yeah.
The way we think when we're kids cracks me up. Yeah, I got to be Mary when I was 5, but I don't
Aw.
think I was ever Mary after that. But that was fun. While the choir was singing, I had to just sit there and look at the baby and look at Joseph and look at the baby and look at Joseph. I was like,
That would have been enough for me. I was very shy,
uh-huh.
although I did like acting because they told you what to say and what to do, and you didn't have to worry about saying or doing the wrong thing because you were just following orders.
I love that.
So I was shy, but I didn't want to be invisible. I would have
Yeah.
been happy just being Mary and not having a word to say.
Well, that's cool. So, what's your favorite Christmas tradition?
All of them.
I kind of wondered.
I like the sights and the sounds and the smells and just all of the things you can do. But my absolute favorite tradition, I would say, is going as a family to the Festival of Trees. My kids are in their early 30s, and that started before they were even born. We go down to a big hotel, and they have all these different trees and empty packages underneath them. So we'll go around and figure out which one is our favorite, each individual one, and get our picture in front of that tree holding one of those big, impressive, but empty packages. And one year we went down there with my grandchildren. So my kids, my grandkids, we went down to the Festival of Trees, and we don't normally do this, but we all wore the red and black buffalo plaid
Uh-huh.
and had somebody take our picture in front of a nice big setting.
How fun. That's awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to think what my favorite tradition is. Now that my kids are grown, it's just having them together once a year when we all get together. That's because I have 2 who live in California and 2 who live in Oklahoma. And my husband and I leave next week for Thailand. So Christmas is huge because we'll all be together.
Oh, wow.
And we don't have any grandkids. I have 2 grand dogs and a bunch of grand plants. But that's it. Oh, believe me, the grand plants are a big deal. But I love that. We always, of course, start with the Christmas story, but I was the choir director for years and in charge of the Christmas cantata, Christmas plays, the whole thing. That was one of my favorite things to do. And it seemed like every year it would get more and more elaborate. And I had the sound guy who would help me with everything. And he said, I've got my passport ready. I'm leaving town before Christmas started. He was like, I said, what? But we were going to have angels on wires coming down from the balcony. He
For
just looked at
real?
me like, no, I was teasing him.
I've never seen that in church.
Yeah, I wasn't that crazy, but I think you probably thought I was serious. Oh, and I love this question. I used to ask it all the time on my podcast, and I've gotten away from it. I need to bring it back. What children's book still makes you smile today?
Well, this is a Christmas picture book,
Uh-huh.
and I can't tell you the author, but this was a picture book I got back when my kids were little, so it's old. It was called Jesus' Birthday Party. This one is from the point of view from the very cranky innkeeper who keeps getting interrupted all night long. He goes to bed, he's laying down, there's a knock at the door. So, he was walking down the stairs. By the end of this book, he is stomping down the stairs and hollering. And then the bright light. And at the very end, when he goes in there, he goes into the stable because he is so angry and he's about to tell somebody off. And there's a baby. And it's like all that anger just melts away. And in the very end, he's running up and down the hall telling all of his guests at the end that they need to come see the baby.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever seen that one. That sounds like a great one.
I enjoy reading that to my grandchildren now, but that was probably my daughter's favorite. I mean, and if you go away from Christmas, I'm just really quirky reader, but have you ever seen, this one's old too, Grover's The Monster at the end of the book?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's trying to prevent you from turning pages, and then you get to the end and it's just him. My kids love that. My granddaughters love that one. Humor is big in our family.
Yeah, us too. Humor and sarcasm. So irony. I should say irony in a children's book, but it comes across as sarcasm sometimes.
Okay, but the newest book, I'll tell you the newest book. Now,
Okay.
we've got Laura Sassy's Pumpkin Day with Boo and Belle, and my older granddaughter loves that. I mean, she has been studying the map at the front of where Boo lives and where Belle lives and all the things in between. Actually, we both love the map things. Remy's Sticky Situation by Cindy Lynn Sawyer has a little raccoon that just wants to taste the cotton candy. And my littlest granddaughter asked me to read that to her over and over. She's just so tickled about it. And it is a lesson on friendship and forgiveness.
Uh-huh.
I do love a book that has some sort of a lesson in there. And it's not a surprise any longer what happens at the end, but the girls still want to talk about how he shouldn't have done that. Because he thought his friends were stealing his cotton candy.
That's right. Yeah, I've interviewed Laura about the pumpkin book, and I've interviewed Cindy about her books.
Oh, cool.
So that's just cool that you mentioned both of those. And I love both of those books. That's so cool. Well, at Christmas, we have a tradition of it started out as a little basket. Now it's a huge basket in front of the fireplace with all the books. And so at different times, we'll pull out different books and read them, even though my kids are grown, because I do write picture books. I talk about picture books all the time. I even usually give them a picture book at Christmas. And last year was the first year in a long time I haven't given them a picture book for Christmas. I gave them like adult books, chapter books, not chapter books, novels and different things. And my son's like, well, where's the picture book? He was very disappointed. So I've got to figure out what one I'm going to give them this year because they're now expecting that. And I really disappointed them last year. I keep those in front of the fireplace, and whenever we're all together, we just sit and read, and especially on Christmas Day, we'll read one. But sometimes I'm just like, okay, you all have to sit down. I got a new book, and this one's so funny, and we'll read it, and they'll just crack up. When we first got We Don't Eat Our Classmates, have you ever read that one? It's about a T-Rex.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Penelope the T-Rex who goes to school. cracked me up. But one of my favorites, all-time favorite picture books that's more recent is Enemy Pie. I think that is one of the most brilliant books I've ever read, and it's just great.
And that's a picture book?
It is. It's a picture book and it's called Enemy Pie. It's this little boy, he has an enemy, this kid at school he just doesn't like, and he moves into his neighborhood. And he's like, "Oh, dad, he's moved into the neighborhood. He's going to ruin everything." And his dad says, "Oh, don't worry. I've got a plan." And he says, "I'm going to make enemy pie. That'll fix him." And he says, "You invite him over and we'll have this afternoon." He said, "But first, you've got to go spend the day with him and invite him, to come eat the enemy pie." So of course he spends the day with the kid, learns to love the kid, thinks he's a great kid, and they become friends. Well, then he's bringing him over and he's like picturing worms and all these things being in this enemy pie. And he's trying to get his dad not to serve it. And it's just so brilliantly done. It's just great. So, of course, it has the surprise ending that is not an icky pie, it's a yummy pie. And they enjoy it together now as friends. And that's how he got rid of the enemy, was to make him a friend. I thought that's brilliant. So I love that one.
Yeah, I need to look for that one.
Yeah, it's a great one. Okay, so what made you decide? How long have you wanted to be a writer, and what made you want to be a writer?
In elementary school, I wanted to be a writer. And probably it was third grade, and the teacher had us like write a book, like a picture book. And I basically copied. The original story was about going to the store and buying candy, so mine was about going to the store and buying toys. And there was a bookish kid. So it was like three brothers, and the other two bought toys, but the third one bought a book, and that's kind of the smart kid because that was based on me. And it was, not very good, but it was fun. And it was fun illustrating. I'm not an illustrator, but at the time, it was fun illustrating. And in high school, I would start stories and share them with my friends and talk about them and never finish them. And one of my friends, Joyce, called me out on that. She just was so frustrated that I was always excited about some new story idea and I never wrote it. So I got to college, and I'm not sure that I wrote anything in college, but after college I got out and wrote one because I was like, I'll show her.
And here you are. That's pretty
Here
cool.
I am, so many years later.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking of becoming a writer, especially a children's writer? How would you encourage new writers?
I would say that it is very important to, if you can't go in person to a writer's conference, the online virtual ones aren't very expensive. You can always find an affordable one.
Yeah.
And if it's virtual and also has a virtual breakout room, you're actually going to meet people. You're going to be sharing your ideas and talking about things you've heard and doing your writing exercises and sharing those together. Doing that and having a critique group is going to help you, because if you are only writing and sharing with your family and maybe close friends, they're going to love it because they love you.
Yeah.
They are going to love anything you do because you did what they don't think they can do. But if you want a little more objective criticism and help, you're going to need your writer's friends. And if you finally get a book contract, then you have people that you can ask, okay, what do I do next? What should I do about marketing? What should I ask? Can you read my book and give me an endorsement? I mean, you just have so many more contacts if you've been involved in one or more writing communities.
Oh, I agree 100%. That is so important. I just got back I'm a member of ASA, Advanced Writers and Speakers Association, and went to their convention this year. I didn't get to go last year. And I went this year, and the best part of the whole weekend, which it was just awesome, all the teaching, everything, it was the book awards, everything was amazing. But the best part was meeting other writers, sharing our stories, talking about our experiences, and praying for each other. That was by far my favorite part of the whole week. It was like a whole week of meeting with writers and bookstore owners and all kinds of stuff. It was just amazing. But that was the best part. It's invaluable. And the critique group, yeah, we have a critique group that's specifically for children's writers. and it's amazing. So
Yeah, I've got one of those. Yeah, I didn't mention that I am on the leadership team with the Right to Ignite. We used to do conferences before COVID. Now we do master classes online. So I've been with them for almost 10 years.
that's awesome. I love that. It's a great group. And that's very affordable online, the programs they have. I love the
Yes.
master classes. Well, okay. I want to know what else you have on the horizons.
Well, I am currently working on Meanwhile Back at the Empty Tomb.
Oh, that's great.
That one, biblically, you have here's what's happening at the tomb, and here's what the disciples are doing, and here's the ones on the road to Emmaus, and here's Jesus has been resurrected. So there is that back and forth in the Bible that I can work into this and hopefully make it understandable and enjoyable for children, even though it is a little more somber. You know, it
Yeah.
starts out very sad, but yay for the end. Jesus arose. Hallelujah.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Well, I love that. That'll be fun. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add before we finish today?
I'm sure there's something, and I will think of it 2 hours from now.
Yeah, that always happens.
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed talking with you today. I hope people will check out your book and have it for this Christmas to share with their kids and grandkids. Again, it's called Meanwhile, Back at the Manger. And congratulations on this book. I'm so excited to read it. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the excitement about my book. Yay,
Yeah,
I'm
I love
excited too.
it. Okay. Thank you for spending time with us today. If we sparked any questions or you have any comments, feel free to put those in the show notes comment section. It's under the show notes on our blog post. We always love hearing from you and we respond to every comment and question. I wanted to let you know one thing we forgot to mention in the interview is that Brenda also co hosts a podcast, and it is from the Right for Ignite group, which we mentioned she's on the board of. Check them out. They have so many great master classes, lots of good reviews of books, and it's just a great group of writers. So check them out. It's Right, like writing, with the number 4 and Ignite. I'll have the link in the show notes so you can link right to it. As you know, we have lots of freebies on our website, terriehellard-brown.com. We have some things you can pay for, such as coaching groups on Zoom for helping parents navigate the journey of parenthood and discipling our kids. These coaching groups offer you the opportunity to ask anything. If you've ever wondered, where in the world can I ask this question? I don't know who to trust or where it's a safe place to ask. Our Zoom groups are safe. In fact, you'll send the questions in early and we will strategize and answer, my team and I will come to the meeting and share the question and the answer. So when you're there, you can remain completely anonymous if you want to. And then the whole group can ask additional questions because we all deal with a lot of the same things. So we have a lot of the same questions. We want to create a supportive, encouraging environment for parents because we need that. We need fellowship. We need encouragement. And we all face all kinds of challenges as parents and as spouses. So let's create a place where we can ask questions, get answers, and find ways to help our families be healthier and grow closer to God. So I encourage you to check that out on my website. We also offer a free session so you can see exactly what we do in these Zoom groups. So you can sign up for a free session on my website, and I'll have that link in the show notes for you. We also have a parenting challenge. We have a literature challenge where you can bring discipleship into your literature classes. Even if you're not homeschooling, if you read together, these are exercises you can do with your kids to bring discipleship into your family reading time. So we offer all these things on the website, plus more. Check it out. We'd love to have you reach out if you have any questions. If you can't find what you're looking for on my website, let me know and we'll send you right to the right link. And as always, most of all, we pray that you feel empowered, equipped, and encouraged to walk by faith and to embrace everyday discipleship every day with the people in your life.